I'm going to show you step by step how you can put a pavilion just like this in your backyard. Are you sick of being caught in the rain? That's what happened to me. I got tired of grilling out here all by myself in the snow and rain. So this year, I built this. And I'm going to show you how to do it too, so you can have your own backyard pavilion. So what I did for this video was I broke it down into 3 parts. The first part is post layout and digging the post holes. As for part 2, that's putting up the frames and tying everything together. And then part 3 is the roof. This will make it a little bit easier for you to navigate through the videos and find a particular spot if you need to see just that part of the video. I really appreciate you watching these videos, and if you have a better way to do something, please comment below because that'll help everybody out. Obviously, I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy in his backyard that likes to tinker around and build things. And if you just follow along with what I did, you should get the same results. If you find videos like this helpful, just like everybody else says, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps us out. All right, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building a 12 by 14. That's the size of the roof with the overhangs, 12 by 14, around this existing grill island. Right where the string line is, that's going to be where our first pillar is going to go, right in the center of that. So that's where our anchor bolt's going to be going down to our sonotube pillar. Problem is the existing stone wall there is in the way of where I want to put my string line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out some rectangle or some square boxes that sonotubes are going to sit in that I can level, and then I'm going to go from the outside of those boxes. They will get me around this wall so that I can get a nice square spot. Okay, so today's the day. In a little bit I'm going to go rent the post hole digger, and we're going to dig these post holes down 4 feet deep because that's our frost line here. So what I've done is I've staked out, if you look at the plans, the posts sit 10 foot on one side and 12 foot on the other to the outside edge of the post. So you have to keep that in mind when you're laying out the position of your posts. You want everything square, you know, your pillars directly under your posts, because I've seen a lot of guys where they go and they drill their posts and then they go to build their structure and it's off, and then your post winds up on the outside of your pillar. So we're going to try and avoid that. So from here to here is 10 foot, and from there to there is 12 foot to the outside of the post. You take the dimension that you want, say 10 foot, and then you subtract 1 full post, and that will give you direct center of where your post should be. So for this one, it's 12 foot minus, because the posts are 6 by 6, which is 5.5. You're just going to subtract 5.5, and then that's the distance that you should stake for the center of your pillars. And then to make sure everything's square, use the 3-4-5 method. That's where you measure 3 feet one way, 4 feet the other way, and then it should be 5 feet when you measure between them. If that's the case, then you're square. So I've done that, excuse me, so I've done that here, and I've done that on that corner. The only issue I do have is this stone structure thing is in the way between measuring between here and here, but that's not a big deal. We know we're square there, we know we're square there. I've measured between them, they match there, so I'm just assuming everything's square, but you know what they say when you assume. So this is the before. I started making these frames to put my sonotubes in. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 12-inch holes, even though I'm using an 8-inch sonotube, and that way it'll be bigger on the bottom. It'll be 12 inches down below, and then 2 feet up it'll change to 8 inches. That'll give it a bigger footprint, so it's not like a couple pencils shoving into the ground. You know, if you have a different way to do it, that's fine. You know, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about how you would do this. It won't start. All right, as you can hear, I finally got it started. I had to call them. Apparently there's a switch up at the head and one of the motor. They both had to be on. I didn't know that. Live and learn. Go for next time. All right, let's get digging. So I don't know if you can see it down there, but there's a rock that is,
there we go.
Oh, and you just gotta work away at it.
There we go.
This doesn't come with the auger, rock removal. This is manual. So that's what was causing the thing to bounce, but we got it. We dug our 4 holes. I threw some old water bottles over top so no one falls into them. They're pretty deep, as you know, they're 4 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up some of this dirt. I went and talked to the building inspector. He'll be out later today to double check that they're deep enough. And then once that happens, I got the go ahead to go ahead and concrete, and I don't have to contact him again until the whole project's complete. So we're just going to do a little housekeeping and move on from there. So I'm going to be using an 8-inch sonotube for my concrete forms. I drilled a 12-inch hole. I only ordered 2 sonotubes. I'm going to cut them in half. I'm going to go 2 foot 12-inch concrete and then the 2 foot of the 8-inch concrete to the surface. So I'm going to build some boxes, some forms to put these sonotubes in so I can set them in place, pour my concrete without them moving. I'm going to build a box with an 8-inch square so that the sonotube can sit inside it. I'm going to screw it to that. First, we're going to set our boxes, put our sonotubes in, attach the sonotubes, pour the concrete, put our string lines back up, and set our anchor bolts. I don't know if this is the right way to do it. If you got a better way, leave a comment below. I'd appreciate it. So would everybody else watching this. But that's how I'm going to do it, and hopefully it comes out right, everything's square, and we can move forward from there. All right, let's build these boxes. Done. The most important part, just like in any project, is the prep work. The more time you spend prepping, the smoother things go usually. Get a closer look at what I did here. I have these frames that I built for the tubes, like I said. This one's measured 2 inches off, and because this is in the way, I can't really get a good solid string line, so I measured that one 2 inches off the line. I took this board and I drilled holes in it at the dimensions. I have 1 hole on this side, and then because this thing's longer one way than the other, 1 hole represents one side and the other hole represents the other. So that would be the 12 foot side, that's 10 foot side. I just kind of lined up the hole here, and it's going to put me exactly where I got to put my other anchor bolt there. So as long as the string lines are square using the 3-4-5 method out there, if they're both square, that means that this is coming in square. So as long as I have the dimension from here to there, I'm assuming it's as square as it's going to get, that I can measure without, advanced equipment or anything like that. So we're going to leave this for tonight. Concrete's coming tomorrow. It's supposed to rain tonight. It's supposed to be drizzly tomorrow, so it should be a lot of fun. Nothing like mixing concrete in the rain. All right, it says our delivery is just a few stops away, so I'm going to get these holes ready. Now this one's full of water. So what I'm going to do is and as you can see, it's off just a little bit, so I'm going to drain the water out and then just shave off that edge, because that post hole digger, it kind of went like this as we went down. So yeah, I'm just going to cut that edge, drain the water, cut that edge, and we should be good. This is the one I'm going to start with because it's the wettest, and I want that concrete getting flooded out. So the problem is it's pretty close to the septic system. We have a sand filter in the backyard here, and I think this hole is probably in the sand filter. That's probably why it's so wet. So it just keeps filling up with water. Once we get the concrete in there, we should be okay. I just want to make sure the bottom was nice and clean. Get a closer look here. But yeah, see how this just keeps filling up with water. So that's where I just pulled out the bottom. So what we're gonna do, it's just mud, it's nothing disgusting. It doesn't smell or anything. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna clear the bottom of that right before I'm ready to throw the concrete in there. We'll probably do this hole first, like I said. We're going to mix up concrete and then drain it right when we start throwing concrete down the hole. So waiting's the hardest part. Home Depot should be here any minute. They just called me. And yeah, they give you a window of 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I think they could tighten that up a little bit, but I'm just happy they're delivering this morning. It's about 10 o'clock. So there's lots of daylight left. Hopefully we can get this done today. Don't look like very much. So that's all I got. Some plywood and 2x4s. But at least I got the tube so I can start. I do have some concrete in my one shed, 10 bags. It should be enough to start the first post. So that's what I'm gonna do. I gave them a call. They said they should be out, or they should have it all together within a couple hours and come back out. But again, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't have a lot of faith in this delivery stuff. Frustrating. Okay. So this is what happens when you're waiting for Home Depot to show up with your concrete. Hijinks ensue. Anyways, back to work. So you saw the Home Depot delivery. I moved it all to the sidewalk and took the plywood back to the shed. And then I have this little piece here. I think the guy's gonna hand deliver concrete, so that'll be fun to unload. The whole purpose of the delivery was so a fork truck can drop it off. Anyways, so I get the last piece of plywood in the shed, and my son-in-law's standing right behind me. Hey, need a hand? I could. Hold up. It's a still shot. Getting all, see the air bubbles coming up? That's all we're doing, is getting the air out. That is not a rare occurrence. You don't see me on my trips. What you talking about, Wilson? All right, so you can see my board here. There's the hole I drilled. This is really handy because that way everything's, you know, like it's a more stiff thing to use than a string line. I mean, string lines can be bent and twanged and everything else anyways. But so I have this hole here, it lines perfectly up with that. That's my line from the other post. So you can see that one's set. And then again, one side's bigger than the other. So there's the hole for the shorter side. There's a hole for the longer side, and then I got this one. Didn't wind up exactly in the center of this, but that's okay. There's a lot of concrete underneath it, and the beam will still wind up sitting on the pier itself, so we should be good there. Okay, 2 down, 2 to go. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next one in the series. In that video, we're going to put up the posts, tie everything together, and make it structurally sound. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.